Okay, so let's discover what comes out of my mouth today. I feel to share with you. Um, Earlier today, I was walking home from yoga and I had this strange feeling in my body, a kind of disconnected, itchy, but not in the like skin itchy sense, more in the itchy, like can't sit with myself sense. And it wasn't in my experience during practice, and walking home, that's not normally how I tend to feel. I didn't feel um yeah uh peaceful, connected, or any of the familiar sensations. And then my intuitively I felt to reach out to a friend of mine in Lisbon, and I sent her a message saying, "Hey, are you free for a chat?" And when she said, "Yep, I'll call you in a couple minutes," she rang me and she said, "How are you going?" I said, "I feel strange." And she said, "What kind of strange?" Tried to describe the feeling to her of like, well, it's kind of like uh, detached, but not in the quantumist kind of, sort of detached way, but floaty, mm, not quite numb, but disconnected, dissociated ish kind of way. It's like it's an unfamiliar feeling. I'm not used to feeling this way, so it just feels strange. And she giggles and she's like, "Wow, what you described is exactly how I've been feeling." And we had a really beautiful conversation for about half an hour, 40 minutes or something like that, about what was going on in her world. And at the end of it, she's like, "I'm so glad you called." And I was like, "Yeah, of course." And it just reminded me, like, I get this a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. It's not this sense of, like, yesterday, actually, an example yesterday was I'm sitting there drinking a cup of tea, and my heart starts hurting. My heart starts aching. And then my mind goes to a different friend. And I ring her just instinctively to work out what's going on. And she sends me a message back saying, "Oh, I can't talk right now. But I was just thinking about you and whether or not I should let you know something." And I was like, "Oh," I told her what had happened on my end, my experience, and I said, "I just was ringing to see what's up." And then she tells me her partner might have cancer. Um, and regularly when I my bestie will ring me when he feels me thinking about him, or I feel him thinking about me. We ring each other just because there's an awareness of it's all one energy field, right? So my experience is that we're either conscious of it or unconscious of it, but we're still all connected in the ether. We're all nodes in the same energetic network, right? So if you think about it, like from a electricity metaphor, if we use the electricity metaphor, so in the house, there's got this lamp plugged in here, and then downstairs is the kettle and the toaster and the vacuum cleaner and the hair dryer in the bathroom, and all of these are different appliances all plugged into the same electric uh, source. And then the house itself, like they're all on the, maybe they're all in the same, what do you call it, not surge protector, but the same switchboard. But then the house itself is in the same power line of the same, that the area, and so on and so forth. So I think electricity has always been a metaphor that I resonate with in terms of energetics, right? The energy that flows through and how we choose to conduit, whether or not the outlet's turned on or not, what's going on with the device. If even if the electricity is flowing, if the kettle is broken, then it, can't do a darn thing. So the combination of the device has to be working, right? Like this has this light bulb that's behind me, and this lamp that's behind me. The lamp itself has to have, if the light bulb is blown out, doesn't matter if the electricity works. So that's, our physical bodies. We look after them, we take care of them so that we can conduit the energy of spirit. So if I don't clean the channel every day, if I don't keep the mind crisp and clear through meditative practices and empty out, because meditation is the practice of emptying, right? Emptying all the noise, like because thoughts are just electrochemical signals. I really resonate with what Eckhart Tolle said when he was asked, "What's your greatest?" I don't know if they said the word achievement or accomplishment. I can't quite recall, but he basically said, "I learned how to stop thinking." And as someone who practices that regularly and finds there's nothing quite so blissful. There's nothing quite so blissful as when there's not a thought in the mind. It's a worthy endeavor, and I feel I'm learning. Part of this practice, I'm learning how to speak thoughtlessly as well, like without filtering through the mind. That in and of itself is its own practice, because that's the ego saying, this sounds good, this doesn't sound good, don't say this. So I'm learning how to just let the stream of consciousness, whatever's flowing, speak. And I guess that's part of what these practices are, to stop filtering and just allow the flow. Yeah, so sometimes there aren't organized points, but that's okay. I trust what comes out is what needs to be said. And I think what the evolution of this practice is, it might be I start doing just guided meditations, where it's like, I might start with whatever is current in my experience, and then, or maybe it's a whole different practice, who knows. I don't know how it'll turn out. But it is something I'm feeling called towards. And then sharing here on YouTube, as well as Insight Timer as well, perhaps. Guided meditations. There's no other practice that's been quite as profound for me in terms of mind, body, spirit. Like, you train restlessness out of the mind, the body, and the spirit, all through meditation. Right? You train concentration first, fixed point of concentration. And of course, this is what TBT is, like an element of it. There's other elements of it. But the foundational element is meditation. We have other supplemental practices to move energy through the body, somatic practices, to strengthen, like vagal toning type of stuff. But the heart is meditation. Yeah, I'd like to be able to stay deep in meditation while speaking. I find that to make words, I'm not as deep. which is another, reason I really appreciate the silence. I sit in my depths more fully. And I don't know what your experience is, if there's entrainment that happens, energetically. You're watching this. Like, I find when I watch, whether it's Muji or I watch beings that have a great degree of stillness and self-realization. There's there's deeper depths in me that are accessed. And I will also say, at one point in time, I couldn't listen to him because I couldn't resonate with him. So I very, very much, I talk about this in my book, Enlighten Up, like there's different teachers for different seasons for where we are on the path, because the teacher has to be a few steps ahead of us so that they can still speak our language and we can relate to where they are. There's enough resonance in the field. If they're too far ahead, like too deep in themselves, they almost feel inaccessible. That's what Muji was for me once upon a time. And then I came back to him some years later, and he was accessible again. And Yogananda, the same thing. So different teachers, different seasons. Yeah, I don't feel to speak anymore. I just want to sit for meditation. Yeah. What I speak in this about, so I remember how to label it. I talked about, the interconnectedness of the energy field. So when you're thinking about someone, they're probably also thinking about you too, whether they're conscious of it or not, because we're all interconnected. Well, it depends on you're relating with them. Depends on the quality of. I don't want to say it's like I dislike these sort of black and white generalizations that don't leave room for subtlety and nuance. I'm not talking about it in a projective way. I'm talking about it in a somebody you're in a relationship with way, where there's mutual heart connection. Yep. Yes, I talked about that, and I talked about electricity. Okay. I shall upload this and then go sit for meditation. Thanks for watching.